Hi, hey, hello. My name is Mars, and I want to talk about books. I've been thinking about making a channel for a really long time because I watch Booktube videos like every single day. And what better way to start my own channel than with the Booktube newbie tag? So let's get into the questions. I kind of shuffled them around in an order that makes a bit more sense to me, and there are 10 questions. So the first question is, why am I starting this channel? And so I don't really know a lot of people who really share the same sort of level of obsession that I have with reading. So I kind of just really want to build a sort of community and even just, have some outlet for me to talk about the things that I love. I have friends who read, but a lot of them don't have the same sort of interest in the specific books that I like. Like, they read more contemporary or classic or some fantasy, but I'm a lot more into like epic fantasy, and I don't know enough people that read a lot within that genre, unfortunately. So the next question is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to BookTube? And I'm not entirely sure. Like, I feel like maybe my personality and my specific interests could bring a new, fresh perspective. Possibly. We'll see. Especially within my nonfiction interests. For example, like, I love psychology. I have a degree in psychology, so I love psychoanalyzing characters. So that could spice things up within my book reviews. And I also have interest in like a lot of manga and anime, and I'm trying to read a lot more nonfiction. I haven't really read too much of like very popular books that are circling around BookTube, so maybe I could have a bit more niche recommendations. I don't know. We'll see. So the third question is, what are you most excited about for this channel? So I think this just comes back to building community pretty much. I love commenting on my favorite booktubers videos, and even just getting a response or even just a like of that comment. It brings me joy, the fact that we are like bonding over something so similar and like special within our daily lives, I'm also big on like video editing. I think is really fun. Like, I've always been interested in like making videos. Even since I was like 10 years old, I used to take our family's camcorder and just film the weirdest like little vlogs. I always found it to be fun. So I think now this gives me a chance to actually do more in terms of video editing and stuff. As well as challenges and possibly vlogs, like taking part in certain challenges or help keep myself accountable for the things that I want to achieve, pretty much. This is mostly what I do in my free time, so so yeah, I guess like sharing that with everyone could be nice, because I love watching that myself. So giving you a slice of my life as well. Next question is, when did you start reading? Literally ever since I could read, I've been reading. I actually learned to read at a bit younger age than normal, I think. So ever since I could read, I've loved reading. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest dip that I've had within reading was the last couple years of high school were very difficult for me. So I didn't really read as much during that time, as well as ironically during the pandemic, which is where a lot of people's love of reading came back. But I just couldn't really do it at that time because I was dealing with like a lot of other personal things that I just it dipped. But now I'm definitely back into it, and last year I read the most books that I've ever read before, that like I didn't even know that was fucking possible. So hopefully I can continue to surpass my goals this year. The next question is, why do I love reading? And beyond the obvious answer of escapism, I will say that just storytelling in general is so beautiful. It's universal, and I love looking into the minds and the imaginations of other people and what other people can create simply with their minds. I think that's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's stunning. It's beautiful. And I think it is such a big talent to be able to construct something where you connect so many people together. And I think, the best stories are ones that actually make you feel something, whether it's, happiness or love or sadness. Like, actually feeling very emotional within the books is what really connects me to them the most. And I also love imagining the type of character I would be within the story that I read. And how I would fit into the fantastical world, or what I would do in those situations. What type of character would I be in that world? What would my like outfits look like? What would my responses be to certain situations? Would I be a badass? Would I be scared? Like, it depends on like the world building and the magic use. Because like the magic systems that I read about are so fucking cool. So I always imagine what sort of powers I would prefer to have, or etc. Have fun with it. So the next question is, what book or series got you into reading? Since I've been reading for such a long time, I would say that it's most likely Roald Dahl, a very prolific British author, if you don't know, the one who wrote Matilda and the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the BFG. I grew up for a little bit in England, and so he's a very big influence there, obviously. I even got the chance to go to the Roald Dahl Museum when I was a kid, and it was like the best experience of my life. Another kids author is Sharon Creech. I don't know if a lot of people recognize her name or her books. I don't really know how popular she was, but my favorite stories were Chasing Redbird, and put up the picture of it if I can find it, but the only thing that I can think of right now is Chasing Redbird. Anyways, another story that completely shaped my taste in books and that really introduced me to the fantasy genre was a book called Lightland. This book changed my fucking life. Like, I remember reading it, I think in one sitting, if not two. It was one of the best. It was, I can't even describe it, but like, it changed my brain chemistry. Oh, another kid's book is The Tale of Despero, the little like talking mouse that was like a precursor to Ratatouille. I don't know which one came out first, but like a more adventurous Ratatouille, pretty much. Other than that, Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I read that when I was in like 10th grade. I still haven't finished the series. Oh my god, how many years ago was that? 8 years ago? What? 8 years ago. That's crazy. Is that right? I don't know. I can't do math. Throne of Glass was amazing. It was my favorite throughout high school. I still haven't finished it. I've been stuck trying to read Empire of Storms for the last 2 years. I don't know why. I just haven't been able to get past like 10 chapters, I think. But hopefully I can actually finish that book this year. So we'll see. Other than that, I never read Harry Potter, so that was never one of my big influences. Neither was Percy Jackson. I know, don't come for me, this is unpopular opinion or whatever. Another series that shaped my high school years was the Hush Hush series by, I think, Becca Fitzpatrick, I believe. Oh my god, that series had me crying, sobbing, like throwing the book across the room. It was a good time. What can I say? Angels and demons, love triangles. There was action, there was drama, there was romance. I loved it, and I'm glad that I read it during high school, because if I read it today, it's probably definitely not gonna really hit the same spots as it did. So yeah. Next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite YouTubers? I don't know. I mean, I comment under my favorite YouTubers' videos pretty often, or like whenever I feel the need or that I have a question. So I'd say that some of my favorite YouTubers at this time is Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy, Katie Marie. Absolutely love her. I think we would be such cool friends because I find myself to be so similar to her. Also Paige from the PM Reader, and Allison Pages, as well as Patrick Leo and Andrew Watson. I love their like epic fantasy recommendations. I have added so many to my list. So I think the only other question that I would ask some of them would be if they would like to be friends and we could have virtual reading dates and send each other book mail. I don't know. I mean, sounds pretty good to me. Um, so the next question is, what challenges do you think starting a channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think consistency is my biggest worry because of my schedule. I'm in school right now and doing exams, and I'm going to be starting an internship soon. So I think consistency has always been my biggest downfall. And I also really don't want this to cause burnout or for it to take away my joy of reading. I don't believe that it will, but I don't know. I guess there's always that risk that people always talk about. Don't turn your passion into your job, otherwise you're not gonna want it. You're not gonna want to do it anymore. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen, but I think maybe I could definitely go through reading slumps, which I don't know. That's normal. Next question is, where do I read? I could read anywhere. I read pretty much any modality now. So audio, ebook, physical. I use Libby for audiobooks. I live in a really small town, and so I walk everywhere, so I'm not really on transportation for long periods of time. But I think my favorite is reading outside, especially when it's sunny. Like that just hits the sweet spot, Usually just with a cup of coffee in the mornings. Sometimes I'll read in bed, but especially if I'm doing audiobooks, I can just, listen to that when I'm going on errands or cooking or whatever. And finally, the last question is, what kind of books do you like to read? And again, my number one is fantasy. I love also dark academia. I read a lot of graphic novels and manga, and I'm definitely starting to get more into horror novels. I really just like unhinged and unpredictable plots because I feel like I'm quite a predictor. So I love when I actually can't see something coming, or even if it is kind of predictable and tropey, like at least if the execution is done well, then I love that. I'm not as much into contemporary, but I'm open to it. I just don't think that I've found exactly what it is that I'm interested in when it comes to contemporary, because a lot of the times I don't like when there's real life references in my books, such as like Instagram or TikTok. I don't like reading about that in my books. That really takes me out of it. And so for the same reason, I don't really read romance. I like escaping into my fantasy worlds. What can I say? But I'm open to it. I think part of my goals this year is to not be afraid of the different genres that I'm reading. I want to try and get into maybe like romantasy. I don't know, maybe try some romance books. We'll see. So those are all the questions for this newbie tag. I hope you enjoyed listening and learning a little bit about me. I don't really have like a set schedule for when I want to upload videos yet, but hopefully I can figure it out, and hopefully you could stick around to talk about some more books with me. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Mars. I hope you have a wonderful day. Okay, thank you. I don't know why, but I'm a bit nervous.